Militants again posted a video online today that purportedly shows the beheading of a hostage.
Well, heavy fighting between pro and anti-government troops that has been ongoing for 2 weeks continue today in the war-torn eastern regions of Ukraine.
Meanwhile, Russia's ambassador has been summoned over the appearance of 2 Russian warplanes near British airspace. UK fighter jets were scrambled to intercept the aircraft.
Fears of war are growing on the Israeli-Lebanon border this morning after a day of deadly attacks.
Dozens of dead pigeons are turning up in Solvang. Wildlife rescue employees tell us they've never seen anything like it.
West Coast mystery, a mass die-off. Now scientists are trying to determine why thousands of tiny seabirds have washed ashore from California to BC.
Ever seen a UFO? A local man saw this unidentified flying object over the weekend. He thought he knew what it was, but there was something different about this fireball.
And I look up in the sky, and just right in the middle of the sky, a huge fireball. I was freaking out. Never seen anything like that before, ever.
Students partially strip search, and tonight parents, well, they want some answers. News 8's Jason Wheeler traveled to Gustine to figure out what's going on.
In Gustine, Texas, population 457, what happens at the schoolhouse affects nearly everyone, and something happened Monday that's causing a big controversy in this small town.
I felt uncomfortable and I didn't want to do it, and it felt like they violated my privacy.
11-year-old Eliza Medina was one of about 24 elementary students rounded up. Boys in one room, girls in another. She says they were ordered
to pull down their pants and check them to see if they could find anything.
I said I didn't want to, but I had to because all the kids had to.
I was furious. I mean, I was furious.
The Justice Department is building a national database to track cars across the United States in real time. According to government documents, the program scans and stores millions of records about motorists, but it is now raising privacy concerns.
We're now getting a rare glimpse into the way the federal agency has been honing in on its targets, and it's apparently through the surveillance of ordinary Americans. The DEA is now operating a massive national license plate recognition initiative. State and local law enforcement agencies had been rapidly adopting the technology, but now we're learning the same technology is being used at the federal level, pointing to a much larger database of tracking information than we could have ever imagined.
If you were in Berkeley today, you may have heard a loud roar overhead. We sent Nightbeat's Kate Gogiran to find out, what was that noise?
Pretty much the entire building was shaking.
The FAA confirms it. The plane was an F-18 like this one, a fighter jet from Naval Air Station Lemoore near Fresno. The warplane flew at about 3,500 feet before dipping down to 2,500 feet. What do you think a fighter jet would be doing flying that low over Berkeley?
I have no idea. It seemed a little strange.
That dream is now closer than once imagined. Combine innovation and the human body, and you have an unstoppable capability. The intersection of protection and human enablement. A new era of soldier protection has arrived. The future is now.
That video you just saw is the slickly produced pitch reel for Revision Military's prototype for DARPA's Talos program. The TALOS program stands for Tactical Assault Light Operator Suit and is being funded by the US military, research firms, engineering labs, and universities to create an exosuit for a new breed of super soldier with enhanced strength and sensory awareness. We all know how this is going to play out. It goes in a large-scale production and eventually winds up in the hands of an increasingly militarized police force.
Federal agents showed us what fans can expect on game day. From the air, helicopters like this Black Hawk will enforce a no-fly zone and monitor what's happening on the ground. Cameras will send real-time video to command centers.
Begin with breaking news. Police Commissioner William Bratton to establish a new anti-terror strike force.
The unit will be trained in high-tech weaponry to deal with protests, lone wolf attacks, and the new threats posed by terrorists.
It's called the SRG unit. Funding for the new terror strike squad expected to come from both the city and federal Homeland Security grants, so the officers can be trained in heavy arms and the latest tactics.
They'll be equipped and trained in ways that normal patrol officers are not. They'll be equipped with all the extra heavy protective gear, with the long rifles and machine guns.
To lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century.
It is January 28th, 2015, and let's get straight into our news tonight. World government, global government, the NWO, something that people say doesn't exist, even though you can go on YouTube and type in montages of New World Order or global government and see a plethora, as Paul Joseph Watson would say, of politicians using these very phrases. And now we see one William Gates using the same type of vernacular as well. Bill Gates calls for global government. Billionaire Bill Gates has called for a kind of global government this week, arguing that the creation of such a system would be needed to combat major issues such as climate change. Gates went on to stress his position further, stating that a global government was badly needed in order to combat an array of issues ailing the planet.
At the World Economic Forum in Davos, the president of the Institute of New Economic Thinking spoke about the fear amongst millionaires over the growing civil unrest that could stem from that inequality. And he talked about how hedge fund managers are already looking for escapes in the event of a major civil uprising.
Measles was virtually eliminated from the U.S. a decade ago, so we were surprised to hear that measles infected at least 19 people who visited Disney theme parks in California.
That's right there in the USA Today, the headline reads, "Jail Anti-Vax Parents." The columnist, Alex Berzo. He doesn't pull any punches in this opinion piece. The numbers guru writes about science data, and he believes the best way to prevent a measles outbreak is to imprison those parents who have enough courage to challenge their doctor, ask hard questions, and take an active role in their child's health.
Time now 6:04. Some parents found out the Los Lunas School District purchased technology they claimed they wouldn't use. And now those parents are upset.
Yeah, KOAT Action 7 News anchor Angela Brower shows us what's going on now.
At schools across the country, students aren't using cash or a card to buy lunch anymore. They're using these palm scanners that basically take a photo of the vein pattern below the skin and deduct from that child's account.
In Canada, however, they've got a situation where everyone in a neighborhood has now been asked for blood samples by the police to prove that they're not a murderer. Here's what's going on. They say police in Windsor, Ontario, have ordered hundreds of DNA testing kits, and they're going door to door in residential neighborhood where former Prime Minister Paul Martin grew up, asking everyone to provide a blood sample to rule themselves out as a suspect.
Stockholm and a nondescript building has been converted into a high-tech office space. But look under the skin to find something really futuristic.
People who work here can be chipped to gain entry to the building and various services. I've just been chipped myself. It's not a painless process, but it doesn't last too long, not too difficult. Minor surgical procedure, which basically involves a little chip the size of, I suppose, of a grain of rice being inserted under your skin, and you can then go off and have it programmed and then do various things inside the building. And here's Hannah Shawblad, who is in charge of this whole chipping operation in this building. Now, you've been chipped yourself. Where's your chip?
Yeah, I have a chip right here, which I use to access the entire office.
So let's see if we can get into this particular.
This is how I do it.
Okay.
No need for passcodes.
And we're in. So, what else can you use this for?
Oh, I open the front door. I open various office rooms. I unlock my smartphone, my computer, I unlock my bike, all kinds of things that are now part of the greater connected Internet of Things. if we help show people that this is really not that complicated, it's making our lives easier, I think people will actually welcome this. We want to be able to understand this technology before big corporates and big government come to us and say, hey, everyone should get chipped, the tax authority chip, or the Google chip or Facebook chip.
Dat zijn wel hele grote wereldzaken. Ja. Wij zijn zeg maar ingehuurd door inlichtingendiensten en daar hebben wij zaken vernomen die de huidige samenleving in twijfel trekken. En die gaan wij nu naar buiten brengen. Dus daarom zei ik al, zulke kwade mensen zijn er ook weer niet. Want wij doen dit ook voor de gewone burger. Maar daarom is het mogelijk dat mensen van bovenaf tegen, weet ik veel wie er buiten staan, zeggen van ja, maak hem maar af. Dit mag niemand horen.
Je wat mij? Ik ga.
Wat gaat u doen?
Ja, politie, had het vallen! Laat vallen, hè?
Ik laat het vallen. Ik heb het laten vallen. Ik heb het laten vallen.
Knieën! Rustig aan, rustig! Kom draaien, knieën! Oké, even tijd, rust. Op je buik. Ga nu vrij.
Microsoft really threw us a curveball when they unveiled HoloLens. And into the real world, you'll feel like a god.
Protests get out of hand in Niger's capital, Niamey. Demonstrators also set fire to 2 churches in the capital. It's the second day of protests that left 5 people dead on Friday when other churches were burned and Christian homes looted.